All right, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Are you guys ready?
Ready? Whatever you want.
All right, the PDF pulled up here. All right, can y'all see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are on lesson 8, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Do we finish lesson 7?
I believe so. So yeah, we did.
Okay. Yeah, lesson.
So let me know when you're all ready with your pen and paper or textbook or whatever.
I'm ready, inshallah.
All right, so here we have lesson 8, الدرس الثامن. هذا الرجل تاجر وذلك الرجل طبيب. So this man is a businessman or a merchant, and this man is a doctor. So it's just kind of doing more of this and that. Kind of get you used to the difference of them. اسمه تاجري محمود واسمه طبيبي سعيد. So اسمه تاجر محمود واسمه طبيب سعيد. The name of the merchant is Mahmoud, and the name of the doctor is Saeed. هذا بيت للتاجر وذلك البيت للطبيب. So this house belongs to the merchant and that house belongs to the doctor. So remember how sometimes when you have possession, هذا can be at the end? Remember how we talked about that? Like you could say اسم التاجر هذا. You remember that from the last couple lessons?
So what you're saying, we also use Dhaka and stuff like that.
Mhm. So when you use the lam for possession, here it's li, meaning that the house belongs to the merchant.
Mhm.
Then hada, it still is in the front, in the beginning. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
So that's part of what it's trying to show you here. بيت التاجر أمام المسجد وبيت الطبيب خلف المدرسة. So it's saying the house of the merchant is in front of the mosque and the house of the doctor is behind the school. So amama means in front of. That's where the word imam comes from, because he stands in front of the people during prayer. And then khalfa, meaning behind. It's also where you get the word khalif, like vice regent or successor, khulafat. So that means behind, to succeed. لمن هذه السيارة ولمن تلك. So whose car is this and whose car is that? هذه السيارة للطبيب وتلك للتاجر. So this car is for the doctor and that one is for the merchant. So even though we don't see sayara 2 times, it's implied by the fact that this is a feminine ism ishara. It's a feminine, instead of dhalika, it's tilka, right? I think in English they call that a demonstrative pronoun. In here, so it says هذه السيارة من اليابان وتلك من أمريكا. So this car is from Japan and that car is from America. And we have tamarind exercises. Answer the following questions. من هذا الرجل ومن ذلك الرجل. So who is this man and who is that man? ما اسم التاجر? What's the name of the merchant? ما اسم الطبيب? What's the name of the doctor? من أين السيارة من أين السيارة الطبيب? So from where is the doctor's car? من أين السيارة التاجري? So from where is the merchant's car? So these are obviously questions. And so you, on your own time, you're supposed to write the answers based off this dialogue here that we read, or this story, right? So all the answers to these questions are going to be in this story. So I want you to, write out in Arabic and answer what that would be. Make sense?
Yeah.
So that's like your own exercises and homework. Oh, there's a couple more here. أين بيت التاجر? أين بيت الطبيب? And here it says اقرأ واكتب, so read and write. هذا ولد خالد وذلك الولد محمد. So this boy is basically implying his name is Khalid, and that boy, his name is Muhammad, or he is Muhammad. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You guys all understand that sentence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So next one, it says هذا رجل مدرس وذلك الرجل مهندس. So this man is a teacher and that man is an engineer. هذا الكتاب جديد وذلك الكتاب قديم. So this book is new and that book is old. هذه السيارة لعلي وتلك لخالد. أو لعلي. Okay. هذه السيارة لعلي وتلك لخالد. So this car belongs to Ali and that one belongs to Khalid. Then the next one, it says هذا الباب مفتوح وذلك الباب مغلق. So this door is open or unlocked and that door is closed or locked. لمن هذه الساعة? So who is this watch or clock? هي لعباس. So it belongs to Abbas. أهذا البيت للطبيب? Is this house belonging to the doctor? لا هو للمدرس. No, it belongs to the teacher. أهذه الدراجة لابن مؤذن؟ نعم. So does anybody remember الدراجة, what that means? الدراجة means bicycle. So is this bicycle belonging to the son of the caller to prayer? Yes. من هذا الولد? Who's this boy? هو الطالب من الصين. He's a student from China. أذلك البيت جديد? Is that house new? لا هو قديم جدا. No, it's very old. هذه السيارة من اليابان وتلك من أمريكا. This car is from Japan and that is from America, or that car is from America. هذا السكين من ألمانيا وتلك الملعقة من إنجلترا. So this is a kind of a trick one. So this knife is from Germany and that spoon is from England. اقرأ مثال الآتي ثم حول الجمل الآتية مثله. Okay. So it gives you an example. هذا كتاب, this is a book. And then it wants you to convert it into like a sentence with possession. So هذا الكتاب لمحمد. So this book belongs to Muhammad, or this book is for Muhammad. So see how it gives you some stuff right here. So you're kind of supposed to put these together. So هذا الطبيب من الهندي. هذه السيارة للمدير. ذلك الولد ابن مدرسي. تلك الساعة من سويسرا. سويسرا is Switzerland. هذا بيت للمهندس. This house is for the engineer. هذا قلم للعباس. This pen is belonging to Abbas. ذلك الرجل مؤذن. So that man is a caller to prayer. Makes the adhan. هذه بيضة كبيرة. So this is a large egg. هذا منديل واسخ. This handkerchief is dirty. هذه حقيبة للمدرس. So this bag is for the, it belongs to the teacher. اقرأ مثال آتية ثم كون الأسئلة وأجوبة مثل. Okay, so example, it says here, لمن هذا الكتاب? So whose book is this? هذا كتاب لمحمد. So you'd say here, لمن هذا القلم? هذا القلم لعباس. لمن هذا مفتاح؟ هذا مفتاح عادي, and so on. So that's the exercise for you to do on your own time in order to get that kind of sentence structure down, basically. تأمل أمثلة الآتية. So ponder upon the following examples. البيت في البيت. من بيتي إلى البيت. So this is the, if you look at the word house, البيت, the house. This is what you call marfu'. It ends in a dhamma, البيت. When you put a preposition in front of it, what they call a harf in Arabic, like fi or min or ila, meaning in or from or towards or to, then it ends in a kesra. So fil bayti instead of baytu. Min al bayti ila al bayti. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Yes.
type here in Arabic, and I'm gonna explain those case endings. So just bear with me here while I get it kind of set up. So marfu'. So marfu' means literally that it's raised. And when something's marfu', it's gonna end in either dhamma or dhammatain, right? Does that make sense? So you'd say al-baytu ends in a dhamma, it's marfu'. Or if you didn't have the alif lam and you just said baytun, that's also marfu' because it's dhammatain. Does that make sense? Or did I lose you guys there?
Yes, makes sense.
Okay. And then the opposite of that, they call, or not opposite, but when you have kesra at the end, they call it majroor. Oops. Majroor. Sometimes you'll see it like alternatively. Oh boy, how do you do that? As munkhafad. So that's just a variant. Munkhafad. that. Munkhafad means to be put down, and majrur is kind of like a synonym. So majrur or munkhafad means that there is either a kasra at the end, like that, or kasratain. If there's no alif lam, it would be baytin, al-bayti or baytin. Make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
How
And
about
so,
for sorry
go ahead.
to cut you off. How about for is there for fathatain?
Yep, you can also have fathatain. We'll get to that later, though.
Yeah.
So you have these prepositions here. Min, ila. Can you think of another one? Li. Like that. What's another one? Fi. All of these, they call them huruf. Huruf al-jar. Right. Oops. Huruf al-jar. It's supposed to have a shadda, but for whatever reason, my shadda hasn't been working on my keyboard lately. So it's like from majrur. It's the same root. So huruf al-jar, those are the letters or the prepositions that turn a word into becoming majrur or munkhafid. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Sometimes they can be called, also you'll see this in some Arabic books, huruf al-khafdi, from that same root. Huruf al-khafdi, like that.
حروف الخفض. That means kasra, right?
Yep, exactly.
خفض.
So like in the famous book Al-Ajrumiyya, which is like a traditional grammar book, they use the word khafd or munkhafid, but
Yeah.
the majority of grammar books, they'll say majrur or huruf al-jar. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So explaining this kind of throws people off sometimes, but we'll keep going over it. And the Al-Madina books, they don't kind of spell this out all that much because they know it can kind of be a little confusing. But you know, the idea is the teacher will kind of talk about it. So here, this word is unique. Mustashfa, America, Almania. So these three words are like exceptions where they should end in a dhamma because there's nothing acting upon them. There's no haruf jar in front of them. But because mustashfa comes from the root shifa, meaning cure, it kind of is forced to have a fatha at the end because of its root. And America is borrowed from English. So it just kind of ends in the a sound. And same Almania is also borrowed from some European language for Germany. That's what they use in like French and Italian and Spanish, something like Almania. And so, these are kind of exceptions. They really should have dhamma to them, but it's not there because of the nature of the word. And same thing, when you have fi or men or ila in front of them, they don't change. It still ends with fa. America, Almania, fi Almania, fi America, fi al-mustashfa. Does that make
So
sense?
can you repeat that one more time? I think you kind
So
of
the normal rule here is al-baytu is marfu'. You put a harf jar like fi, min, or ila in front of it, it becomes majroor fil bayti, min al-bayti, ila al-bayti. Make sense?
Okay.
But when you have a word where the very nature of the word is it has to end in like a sound or something like that, then it doesn't change, no matter what you do to it.
So is any word that ends in a alif maksura or an alif gonna have that?
Generally speaking,
Okay.
not always, but generally speaking.
So what words specifically like Is it have
We'll
like
get to
a
that more, like the actual rules of which words kind of do this.
yeah?
But these types of words that they don't change case ending at all, they call them غير منصرف. So that's a term you should know. So I'm gonna put that here so that you guys can write it down. غير منصرف. منصرف. In the غير منصرف, it means that like it doesn't convert or it doesn't change over. It's other than something that changes form. So like they also use the word like sarafa to mean like a money exchanger. Like if you go to an Arab country and you need to change your money from dollars over to like pounds or liras or like whatever it may be in that country, they would call it israfa, money conversion. So here it's talking about like a word that it doesn't change, it doesn't convert, doesn't change form. So that's what these ones are. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
I know it's kind of Arabic grammar gets so complicated. So here it says read and write. اقرأ واكتب. هذا الطبيب من إنجلترا. So this doctor is from England. ذهب حامد إلى فرنسا. So Hamid left or Hamid went to France. فرنسا. محمود مريض. Mahmoud is sick. هو الآن في المستشفى. He is now in the hospital. ذهب عبد الله من ألمانيا إلى إنجلترا. So Abdullah went or left from Germany to England. هذا الكتاب لعيسى وذلك الكتاب لموسى. So what it's trying to show you here is you're putting li in front of the name for possession, right? And really it should be like Isin or Musin. But because the nature of the word that it ends in like a, it doesn't change. So li Isa, li Musa. Make sense?
Okay. So if it was Muhammad
So
bin,
li Muhammadin.
okay.
But the name Isa and the name Musa, they're actually loan words from Hebrew. They're not indigenous Arabic words. And so they don't really fit into the Arabic grammatical system. And so they fit into that weird category of غير منصرف. Usually loan words from another language, they just fit into the category of غير منصرف because they don't fit into the Arabic like grammar good. Does that make sense?
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So just visually seeing an alif maksura on the end of a name or whatever is probably a good indication of that.
Sometimes, not always, but sometimes.
Okay.
It's just you just have to like get more examples and more familiar because they'll be like you could say al qadi and it might be look like alif maksura. They might not put the dots on it,
Right.
you know, and stuff like that. So it eventually like the more you get used to the rules and the more examples you see, it becomes intuition.
Okay.
So هذا المهندس من أمريكا. So this engineer is from America. It says read. اقرأ. So السبورة أمام الطالب وهي خلف المدرس. So the sabura means whiteboard or chalkboard. It's in front of the student and it's behind the teacher. Does that make sense? The
Yes.
chalkboard is in front of the student and it's behind the teacher.
Okay.
أين سيارة المدرس؟ هي أمام المدرسة. So where's the teacher's car? It's in front of the school. أين بيت الإمام؟ بيت الإمام خلف المسجد. So where is the house of the imam? The house of the imam is behind the mosque. أين جالس حامد? Where is Hamidun sitting? جالس خلف محمود. He's sitting behind Mahmoud. ذهب عمار إلى المسجد وجالس أمام المحراب. So Ammar went to the mosque and he sat in front of the prayer niche. Mihrab is that kind of concave part in the front of the mosque where the Qibla is. Mihrab.
Yep.
And so al-kalimat al-jadida, new words. We have al-mustashfa, the hospital, comes from the root word shifa, cure, shafa. And then Almania, Germany. Inkeltera, England. Suisra, Switzerland. Sakin, knife. Franza, France. Amama, in front of. And Khalfa, behind. Is there any questions that you have about any of this so far?
No.
Anything that was difficult or that you might want more examples on? All right, well, I guess we'll end it here. Make sure to do all the exercises on your own time just for more practice. And inshallah, you have all these grammar rules figured out. And then we can move on next time to lesson 9.
Thank you, Sayyidi.
You're very welcome.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Wa alaikum salam.